I always thought Christmas was supposed to feel warm, safe, like soft lights reflecting on the windows while the world outside turns quiet under the snowfall. For the last 4 years of my marriage, that was exactly what Christmas meant to me: comfort, love, and the feeling that I had finally built a life worth keeping. But this year, something felt different, and I didn't understand why until the moment I found the second stocking. My name is Lily Carter, and this is the Christmas that broke me. It started 3 weeks before Christmas. I remember because the air had just begun to smell like pine and cinnamon again, the way it always does when our little town hangs decorations along the street. My husband, Noah, was humming while unpacking our holiday boxes, the same boxes we'd opened together every winter since we got married. He always handled the stockings. We had two, one red, one cream, his and mine. But that night, as he dug through the box, I watched his expression shift into something small and nervous. It was fast, barely noticeable, but I felt it, a tremor in his smile, a flicker in his eyes. And then he said, "I think we should get new stockings this year." I remember freezing for a second, holding a string of lights in my hands, blinking at him like I didn't hear him correctly. New? Why? These are ours. They're special. He shrugged, a little too quickly. No harm in updating things, right? New year, new traditions. At that moment, nothing felt wrong, just odd. But marriages have odd moments all the time. I brushed it off. The next day, he came home with shopping bags. He dropped them on the couch, kissed my forehead, and said he needed a shower. His breath smelled like peppermint gum, the same one he only chewed when he was anxious or hiding something. I opened one of the bags. Inside were two stockings. Two. Not one, not three. Two. They were beautiful, thick, knitted, hand-stitched. One had my name embroidered on it in golden thread, Lily, and the other, God, the other had nothing written on it. No name. Just a blank space where a name could be. I felt a chill creep up my spine. For a moment, I laughed, nervously, telling myself he probably meant one for him and one for me. Maybe he didn't like his old one anymore. But when he came out of the shower, I held them up and said, "Why didn't you get your name stitched on yours?" He froze. His towel was still in his hand, water dripping on the floor, and yet his face lost every color. Oh, I just didn't have time. I'll get it done later." He said it too fast, too forced. I didn't push. I simply placed the stockings on the fireplace mantel and whispered, "They're really pretty." He smiled softly, kissed my cheek, called me baby the way he always did when he needed me calm. And that was it. We didn't talk about it again. But late that night, while he slept beside me, I stared at the ceiling, and that weird uneasiness kept crawling up my chest, like a voice, whispering that something wasn't right. A week later, the stocking mystery got worse. I was cleaning the guest room, a room we never used, when I found a small gift bag tucked behind the dresser. I almost ignored it, thinking it was left over from last Christmas. But when I pulled it out, I felt my throat tighten. Inside it was a tiny plush reindeer, brand new, still with the store tag. And beside it, in the bag, another stocking. A third one, a miniature version, small enough for a baby. My fingers went numb. My heart dropped. I sat on the floor and stared at it for what felt like hours. We didn't have kids. We weren't trying. We weren't even planning. So why did my husband buy baby stockings? I didn't confront him immediately. I don't know why. Maybe I was scared of the answer. Maybe I wanted to pretend it was for a friend's kid. Maybe I wanted to believe he bought it randomly. But deep down, a part of me knew there was a reason he hid it. The next day, Noah left early for work. 2 hours later, I passed by the coffee shop near Main Street, the one he claimed he never went to, and I saw him, sitting at a corner table, not alone. A woman sat across from him. She looked nervous. Her hand trembled when she reached for her cup. And Noah, he reached out and held her hand for a second before pulling away. I thought my heart would stop. I ducked behind a lamppost like some pathetic stranger spying on my own husband. Tears blurred my vision. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Was he cheating? Was she pregnant? Was that baby stocking for her child? I stumbled back, shaking, unable to move or think. That night, I didn't say anything. I couldn't. My throat felt locked shut. Noah acted normal, too normal, overly affectionate. He made cocoa, lit candles, played our Christmas playlist. Guilt has a smell, heavy and desperate. And that night, it filled the entire house. When we went to bed, he wrapped his arms around me and whispered, "This is going to be our best Christmas yet, I promise." A promise from a man with 3 stockings hidden in the house. And I knew something dark was coming, something that would change everything. But I didn't know that the truth, the real truth, would hurt far more than I ever imagined. And that baby stocking, it wasn't for the reason I feared. It was for something much worse. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake, listening to Noah breathe beside me, slow, steady, peaceful, while my own heartbeat felt like it was trying to crawl out of my chest. The image of the mystery woman at the coffee shop kept replaying again and again. Her trembling hands, Noah's hand over hers, the look on his face, not romantic, but something deeper, heavier. Every time I thought I had calmed down, that baby stocking appeared in my mind again like a ghost. Small, soft, new, hidden. I felt like my entire house was holding secrets. The next morning, Noah left early again, claiming he had an urgent client meeting. I watched him button his shirt, his fingers shaking in the smallest way, the same way they used to tremble when he lied about smoking years ago, before we got married. "Noah," I said softly. He paused, his hands freezing on the last button. "Yeah?" I swallowed. "Is everything okay?" He turned to me and smiled, but it was the wrong kind of smile, the kind someone practices in a mirror, not the kind someone feels. "Of course, baby. Why wouldn't it be?" I didn't say anything else. Didn't ask about the stockings, didn't ask about the woman, because I was scared of the truth. After he left, I sat at the edge of our bed for a long time, staring at the sunlight hitting the wedding photo on the wall. We looked so happy, so sure of each other, so unbreakable. Now, I wasn't sure of anything, not even myself. Around noon, I finally gathered the courage to check the coffee shop. Maybe she would be there. Maybe Noah had another meeting. Maybe I needed to see the truth with my own eyes again. When I arrived, the same woman was sitting inside, alone. Her head was down, her fingers twisting a tissue into tiny shreds. Her shoulders were shaking, either from cold or from crying. I couldn't tell. Something inside me broke a little. I walked closer, slowly, cautiously, and as soon as she lifted her face, my heart stopped. She looked so young, maybe 22, 23. Soft brown hair, tired eyes with dark circles, a quiet sadness in her expression that looked too familiar. She wasn't the kind of woman men cheat with. She was the kind of woman life hurts deeply. I didn't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't her. I stood there, frozen, until she noticed me. She straightened up quickly, wiping her eyes like she didn't want to be seen in public. "Can I help you?" she asked softly. I opened my mouth, closed it again, then somehow whispered, "You were here yesterday with my husband?" She blinked. Her jaw trembled. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't know you were his wife." That sentence alone made my knees weak. She didn't know? Which meant Noah told her nothing, which meant something was very wrong. I slid into the chair across from her, my hands icy cold on the table. "What's going on?" I whispered. "Please, just tell me the truth." She hesitated, looked toward the door, looked back at me. Then she said a name that made every muscle in my body tighten. "My name is Emma." Emma. A name I'd never heard before. A name no one never mentioned. A name that suddenly felt like the missing piece in a puzzle I didn't know I was solving. She swallowed hard and whispered, "I didn't meet Noah because of cheating. I swear, I'm not that person." Tears filled her eyes again. "I came to him because I didn't know who else to go to." My heart slowed, painfully. "Why? Why would you go to my husband?" She took a shaky breath. "Because he's the only family I have left." I stared at her. "What?" She wiped her eyes again. "I know you don't know me. Noah doesn't talk about me. But I'm his half-sister." I felt the air get punched out of my lungs. Half-sister? Noah didn't have siblings. Noah told me he grew up alone. Noah told me his parents divorced early and his dad disappeared. But the girl sitting across from me, she had Noah's eyes. Not exactly, but close enough that the resemblance flickered and settled in my mind like a cold realization. "I don't understand," I whispered. "Why would he hide that from me?" Emma looked down at her hands. "Because I'm not someone he's proud of." The way she said it, so quietly, so broken, made something twist inside me. I leaned closer. "Emma, what happened?" Her voice cracked as she spoke. "When our dad left Noah's mom, he started another family, mine. But he wasn't a good man, Lily. He was angry, controlling, violent." Her eyes filled with tears. "He died 3 months ago." My breath hitched. And I had nowhere to go. No home. No money. Nothing. She looked up at me, her voice trembling. "Noah is the only person who ever tried to help me, but he didn't know how to tell you about me without hurting you." My chest tightened painfully. Noah wasn't cheating. He was hiding his sister. His sister. I pressed a hand to my forehead, feeling tears build up. But the baby stocking? Her eyes widened. That's not for what you think. What is it for? I whispered. She hesitated, looked away, her voice barely audible. It's for my baby. My world blurred. You're pregnant? She nodded slowly, tears spilling down her cheeks. Yes, and I don't know what to do. I don't have anyone. Noah was trying to help me. He bought the stocking because he thought maybe if I had something small to hold on to for Christmas, it wouldn't feel so empty. My entire body shook. And he didn't tell you, she continued softly, because he didn't want you to think that he had a woman in his life he was hiding. He didn't want to hurt you. I closed my eyes as tears broke free. The fear, the suspicion, the confusion. I had been drowning in it for weeks. But the truth was nothing like I imagined. I opened my eyes and whispered, "Why didn't he tell me all of this?" Emma took a long, shaky breath. "Because he thought you wouldn't want me in your life. He thought you'd feel betrayed. He thought you'd make him choose." My heart cracked open, piece by piece. "No," I whispered. "I would never make him choose." But Emma's voice broke as she said, "Lily, there's something else you don't know." I looked at her, terrified. She laid her hand over her stomach. "The baby isn't coming." Everything stopped. My breath froze. My hands went cold. The world fell silent. "What?" I whispered. She choked on her tears. "I'm losing it, slowly. The doctor said there's nothing they can do." A tear slid down her cheek. "I think that's why Noah is so scared. That's why he's been hiding everything. He didn't want to bring you into this pain. He didn't want to break your heart." My chest ached so deeply it hurt to breathe. The baby stocking, the second stocking, the shaking hands, the secret meetings. It was all grief, not betrayal. Grief. Emma wiped her cheeks and whispered, "He's trying to save me, and he's terrified it'll destroy you." She looked up at me with broken eyes. "But Lily, you deserve the truth. And Noah, he deserves someone who stands beside him, not someone who leaves him in this." My throat tightened as I whispered, "What do I do?" Emma looked at me gently. "Go home. He's waiting, and he's falling apart inside." I swallowed hard, and as I stood up, wiping my tears, I realized the real heartbreak was the secret he kept to protect me. A secret too heavy for one person to carry. And now I had to face him. I don't remember the moment my knees hit the floor, only the sound that came out of me. It wasn't a scream, it wasn't even a sob, just a broken, breathless noise, like something inside me finally tore after holding on too long. Ethan didn't rush toward me. He didn't help me up. He just stood there, frozen, pale, wide-eyed, like he was the victim and I had somehow shattered his world. "I was going to tell you," he whispered. That was the sentence that ripped through my chest harder than the receipt ever could. "You were going to tell me?" My voice trembled. "When, Ethan? During Christmas dinner? Or when she sent you the ultrasound picture and you had to come up with more lies?" He blinked rapidly, his breath unsteady. "It wasn't like that. You don't understand." "I don't understand? I laughed, but the sound was hollow. I saw her message. I saw the stocking. I saw the due date. What else is left to understand? He rubbed his forehead as if my pain was giving him a headache. I made a mistake. A mistake doesn't last 9 months, I snapped. Silence, heavy, suffocating. The fire crackled behind us, warm and soft, mocking me because Christmas wasn't supposed to feel like this. It wasn't supposed to be the night I learned my husband had built an entire secret life behind my back. Ethan finally walked toward me, reaching out like I was something fragile. But I pulled away before he could touch me. "Don't," I whispered. "Please, don't." He swallowed hard. "I didn't cheat because I didn't love you." I stared at him, stunned he thought that sentence would help. "Then why?" I asked. "Why her?" Ethan looked away, jaw clenched in shame. "I don't know. It was stupid. She was kind. I was stressed. I didn't think it would matter." "Didn't think it would matter?" My voice broke. "You got her pregnant, Ethan." His eyes filled with tears, but they only made me angrier. I had cried enough for both of us. He didn't deserve those tears, not one of them. "She told me she wouldn't keep it," he said weakly. "I thought it was over. I thought it would just disappear." Disappear? He talked about a baby, his baby, the same way someone talks about a stain they hope washes out. I covered my mouth, feeling sick. "And when she didn't?" I whispered. He exhaled shakily. "She changed her mind. She wants to keep it." "And you bought the stocking?" My voice cracked again. "You bought a Christmas stocking for her baby? For your baby? And you were going to hang it in our home like I wouldn't notice?" Ethan shut his eyes. I didn't know what to do. "You lie," I said coldly. "That's what you do. You lie and hope I stay stupid enough to keep believing you." He didn't deny it. He couldn't. For a long time, neither of us spoke. The only sound was my heartbeat, loud, uneven, shaking through my ribs like my chest was too small for the pain inside it. Finally, I stood up. Ethan flinched like he knew what was coming. "Where are you going?" he asked. "Away from you." "Avery, please." "Don't say my name," I whispered. "You lost the right to say it." He stepped forward again, desperate. "Let me fix this." "Fix?" I shook my head slowly. "I'm not a broken vase you can glue back together. You broke us. You broke our future. You broke Christmas, my favorite night." Ethan's face crumbled. "I never meant to hurt you." "You didn't mean to get caught," I answered. He looked like my words slapped him. Good. They were meant to. I walked toward the door, wiping my cheeks, even though tears kept falling faster than I could catch them. "Avery, please," he begged. "We can go to counseling. I'll cut her off. I'll do anything." I stopped at the doorway. "No," I said softly. "You already made your choice. You chose her. You chose that baby. You chose the lie over me." He whispered, "I love you." I shook my head. "You don't love something you cheat on. You don't love someone you betray on Christmas Eve." His shoulders sagged, like he finally understood he had lost me. But then, something unexpected happened. As I stepped outside, snow falling softly onto my lashes, I heard a voice behind me, quiet, trembling. "Avery, she didn't tell you everything." I froze. My breath fogged the air. Slowly, I turned around. Ethan's face was drained of color, almost frightened. "What?" I asked. He hesitated. Then, "She didn't just keep the baby from you," he swallowed hard. "She kept something from me, too." My heart stopped for a beat. "What do you mean?" I whispered. Ethan shook his head, looking terrified of the words he was about to say. "She told me something 2 nights ago, something that changes everything." Snow drifted across the doorway between us, the cold settling on my skin. But his next words hit me harder than the winter wind ever could. "She said the baby might not be mine." My breath caught. "And Avery," he added, voice shaking, "and that's not the only secret she's been keeping." A cold shiver crawled down my spine. "What other secret?" I asked carefully. Ethan took a trembling breath. "She said she wants to talk to you." My stomach tightened. "Why?" I whispered. His next words dropped like ice into my chest. "Because she claims you're part of the reason she came back." The snow fell harder. The world felt smaller. And suddenly, I wasn't sure the betrayal I discovered tonight was the full story. Something deeper was hiding underneath it. Something darker. And I wasn't ready for what came next. But she was coming to tell me anyway. Tonight, on Christmas Eve. The knock echoed through the house like a warning. 3 soft taps, then silence, then one more, firmer than before. My breath shook. Ethan stood beside me, pale, frozen, like someone who already knew the nightmare waiting on the other side. I opened the door slowly, and there she was. The woman from the phone call. Red eyes, chapped lips, a long coat covered in frost. She looked exhausted, not angry, just broken. "Are you Avery?" she whispered. "Yes." She nodded once, then looked at Ethan. Her entire face fell apart. "So, you lied to her too?" she whispered. My stomach twisted. "What is going on? Who are you?" She stepped inside. Her hands were shaking so hard, I thought she might collapse. "My name is Lila," she said, "and I think you deserve the truth." She pulled off her gloves, sat at the edge of our couch, and held her stomach, not in the way a pregnant woman usually does, more like someone guarding a wound. "I'm not here to destroy your marriage," she said softly. "I'm here because I'm scared, and because you were the one name he kept saying." My entire body went cold. "Mine?" I asked. "Yes," she nodded. "Every time he fell asleep, every time he panicked, every time he cried, he kept saying, 'Avery doesn't deserve this.' I needed to know who you were." I turned to Ethan. His face collapsed. "Ethan," I whispered, "tell me what she's talking about." He didn't answer. So Lila continued. "I met him 8 months ago," she said quietly. "We talked a few times. We hooked up once." Her voice cracked. "It wasn't serious for me, but for him, it meant something. Something he never admitted, because he already loved you." My heart throbbed painfully. "But the baby?" I asked. She shook her head. "The baby isn't his," she whispered, "and he knows that." My breath stopped. "What?" I whispered. "The baby isn't Ethan's," she repeated, "and he knows." I turned toward him, stunned. Ethan finally spoke, voice shaking. "I didn't want you to think I cheated with someone who carried my child. I didn't want you to think I was building a second family." "Then why the hell did you buy 2 stockings?" I cried. His eyes filled instantly. "Because," he whispered, "I wanted one for us and one for the baby she's having, even though it's not mine." It didn't make sense. "Why?" I asked. "Why would you do that?" He looked down, shoulders trembling. "Because she's alone. Because the father wants nothing to do with her. Because I made a mistake that ruined her life. Because she had nobody else." Lila wiped her cheeks. "He didn't owe me anything," she said, "but he kept checking on me, bringing groceries, making sure I had heat. He even drove me to the ER when I fainted." Ethan swallowed hard. "I was wrong, Avery. I was stupid. I should have told you. But every time I tried, I froze. I didn't want to hurt you." "And what was the connection with me?" I asked. Lila blinked slowly. "When he told me your name, I realized we met before." My heart stopped. Met? When? "Last year, at the shelter giveaway." Memories flashed instantly. The young girl sitting quietly in the corner, the one I had given my extra scarf to, the one who hugged me and cried because no one had given her a gift in years. "That was you?" I whispered. She nodded. "You were the only person who showed me kindness that night. You told me that even strangers deserve warmth, and that Christmas doesn't forget anyone." Her voice shook as tears streamed down. "When I found out you were his wife, I didn't know whether to warn you or stay away." "And you chose to stay away," I whispered. "I didn't want to break the only good thing he had, and I didn't want to ruin the only moment of kindness I had felt." My throat tightened painfully. "So," I asked Ethan, "what now? You bring her into the house? You raise a baby that's not yours? You hide a whole person from me?" He stepped closer, voice breaking. "No, Avery. I wanted to help her, but I never meant to betray you. I love you. You are my family. You are my home. Please, please don't walk away." My hands shook. Love isn't enough. Trust is everything. And you broke it. He fell to his knees. "Avery, please." But I stepped back. "I need space. I need time. I need to breathe." Lila stood up. "Avery, I'm sorry. I never wanted this. And I'll leave. I won't contact him again." But somehow, I didn't want her to leave. She wasn't the villain. She wasn't trying to take Ethan. She was just another broken girl trying to survive. I looked at her, this trembling, frightened woman carrying a child alone, and despite everything burning inside me, I didn't hate her. I hated the lies, not her. "I'm going to my sister's for a few days." Ethan stood slowly. Are we over?" I didn't answer immediately. Instead, I put my coat on, wiped my face, and said, "I don't know if we're over, but we're not okay." I stepped outside. Snow fell softly around me. Cold, but strangely peaceful. "But, Ethan," I turned back. He looked up. "Yeah, you're going to be a good father." His eyes filled with confusion. "But the baby isn't mine." "I know," I exhaled shakily. "But you've already been acting like one." And before he could say another word, I closed the door behind me, leaving him, Lila, the stockings, and the broken pieces of Christmas inside the home we once called ours.